and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Charmaine, and today we are doing the book club review for the Page Turners Book Club, and this month we read Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love this book. I'm just going to put it right out there right at the beginning of the video because why not say it and get it over with. It was so good. I am actually like halfway through watching the TV show right now because I want to see that as well, because I think that they did a really good job at casting the characters. But yeah, did you guys read it? Have you read it before? Like, did you read it before now? Have you read any of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books? This is the second time that we've read her for book club. We read Evelyn Jones. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which was also very good, and it now makes me want to read more of her books. So, and I know that Taylor suggested another one, Malibu Rising maybe? I'm not sure, but I'm very excited to read that as well. I think I'm going to end up reading more of her books. I don't even really like contemporary books, but I'm enjoying her books. Anyways, we're going to get into the questions here. We do have, I think there's 11 of them altogether, and then cast the characters. So there's 12 altogether. So it's actually probably going to be a long review video. Also, there's a million spoilers in this. So if you haven't read it, I'm going to say that in advance, because normally I get like halfway through a question, I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm wrecking the whole book for you before I say that. So there's spoilers in this, okay? That's my spoiler hands. And apparently the noise as well, because why not? Okay, so the first one is, what do you think about the storytelling style of the interview format? Did you feel it worked well for this story, and why or why not? Oh, I thought it was amazing. I thought that's such a cool way to do it. It kind of reminded me of like one of those episodes of Behind the Music, or, you know, like the storytelling of the band. I'm pretty sure it was called Behind the Music, right? I think so. Now that I've said it, maybe not. But I think so, yeah. I'm going to go with yeah. So it's like they're being interviewed, and then they're like reliving their memories. The only thing I will say is 100%. It's like 20 years after they were together. It's 20 years after these events happened. And a lot of them don't have like maybe the best memory, or like they're not reliable narrators about what they're talking about, because in their mind, for some of them, they've changed it so that they're not the bad guy, or they've changed it to like make themselves look better, or to like maybe protect like their mind from that memory, if that kind of makes sense. But I thought that the interview style of the book was really good. And if you listen to it on audio, it's like 11 people talking. Like there's so many people talking. It's really, really cool. Okay, so number 2 is, Daisy seemed constantly lost and using drugs or alcohol to fill a void. What do you think she truly desired and or felt that she was missing? So she comes from a pretty, like, she comes from a family with like a lot of money, but like her parents, they partied a lot, and like dinner parties kind of things. They didn't treat her very well. Like, it's almost like they had her and then they changed their mind about wanting to have a kid, and then they just kind of treated her like crap. Like, not even like bad crap, they just like didn't care. They didn't spend time with her. They didn't tell her that she was doing a good job. They didn't care about like her grades. They didn't care about her going to school. They didn't care that she was going to clubs when she was like 15 and like hanging out with like huge bands from the 70s. Like, none of that stuff. They didn't care about it. They were just like, yeah, do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You know, like, it's fine. And honestly, when she's older, she doesn't really have a good relationship with them either. Like, she goes out for supper with them, like, I think it's like twice a year or something like that. Like, it's a really, really small amount of time. But they had money. So they feel maybe that they didn't do such a bad job because they had money. So she always kind of had what she wanted. Like, she stays, when she's older, she stays in like a hotel suite kind of thing. Like, that's like her apartment. And her parents just pay for it. So, I mean, good for the money part, but like, she doesn't have any of the love, the attention, like the satisfaction of like being happy and stuff like that. She doesn't have any of that. So I think that she's filling the void with that, because like, if she's drugged out, if she's drunk, like, she's not going to feel any of that. And then she's just like, she parties all night. She hates being alone. Like, almost the entire book, she has to be with someone. And then when she's finally not, she phones Simone and says, I'm all by myself. I don't know what to do. Like, so, and Simone's like her best friend, like they were roommates for a while, and she phoned her and she's like, I don't know what to do. And she's so drugged out, or she's so like drunk, or like everything, like throughout the whole entire book, she's doing cocaine and like pills, and she even says to people, she's like, oh, I'll get rid of the pills. And she like throws them out. And like 20 minutes later, she has like new pills in her pocket. So she's pretty intense with the drugs. Yeah. Number 3, we get to know the Six and how they got their start. We also learn that Billy and Graham's father walked out on them as kids. How do you think that impacted them both? How do you think that impacted both brothers as adults? It really made Billy very aware of the fact that he would not break up with his wife. Like, he would not, it didn't matter what he did, he wouldn't break up with Camilla. And then he also, for himself, he constantly talks about how much he loves Camilla. Every single question is like, yeah, I like Daisy, but I always thought about Camilla. Yeah, I like this, but I always thought about Camilla. I was gonna have a drink, because like, he also ends up going to rehab, and then he gets clean, and then he talks about like how he is always going to want to drink. He's always going to want to do drugs and stuff like that. And then he explains like he'll go to the bar and like hold a drink, but then he'll be like, no, I have to go to Camilla. And like, he had 2 little girls, so he also was like, I'm gonna go and spend time with my family, which honestly, he did spend like a lot of time with his family. Like, when they had breaks from like recording and they had breaks from touring and stuff like that, everything that he did was he would go home to Camilla and hang out with like his family and like spend time with his kids. So I think that he did really good on that front. Like, he really wanted to be like a family man and be like the person that his dad wasn't. Graham kind of had like the same kind of thing, I think, but I don't really know so much on the family part. Like, he didn't rush to get into a relationship with anybody. He did eventually end up getting into a relationship with Karen's. And there's like a question down here later, so I'm not going to talk about that yet. But they were in a relationship together for a while. And I think maybe for him, he was like a little bit more like relaxed about his dad leaving, maybe. I don't know if that's like the right kind of way to say it. Like, Billy took it really hard and he didn't as much. He was just like, oh, okay, well, he sucks. Too bad for him. I'm awesome. You know, that kind of thing. Number 4 is, what do you think about Billy and Camilla's relationship? Were you surprised they stayed together after she found out that he cheated on her? And what does their relationship differ from Daisy and Billy's? So I think their relationship is pretty good. Camilla really helped him. Like, she was like, you need to get clean. You can't be drunk around the kids. You can't have drugs around the kids. If you're not going to get clean, then we're going to get divorced, and that's it. And I'm not doing this. And he ended up like getting clean and everything like that. And then he, like, I mean, I'm going to say, again, everybody in this book seemed to be like a little bit of an unreliable narrator, but it's kind of hard because you're talking about something that happened 20 years ago as well. So there's a little bit of that. But I will say, in the book, often he's saying like, I really wanted to have a drink, or I wanted to have the cocaine, or I wanted to have the drugs, or whatever, but he never did it. And then he always went home to Camilla, and she would like wait up for him, and then she'd be like, are you drunk? And he'd be like, nope. And then she'd be like, okay, let's go to bed. So, I mean, like, she was really good at keeping tabs on him, or track of him. That's what I'm trying to say, both at the same time. And I think she had like the kind of patience that he needed, because I don't think that he would have done like getting clean and all of that kind of stuff if she wasn't a patient person. Like, she was patient, she was strong, she took care of him. Like, because he had quite a big ego, and he really wanted everything to be his way or the highway, that kind of thing. Maybe that had something to do with his dad leaving as well. But he really, like, it was his band. He wanted to be in charge. He wanted to be the one writing the songs. He wanted to be the one who was telling everybody how to play their instruments. He wanted to be in charge of, like, everything. And then I think Camilla, like, took charge in his real life, and that made it a little bit easier for him to, like, just relax, maybe. And then I don't remember the cheating part. I did say I was going to look it up, but I don't remember the cheating part. But the only thing I can think about him cheating is with, like, maybe with Daisy, if she thought that that's what was happening. I do think that he was in love with Daisy. I think he was in love with his wife and Daisy at the same time. And yes, I do think that you can love 2 people at the same time. I'm not saying it's a good idea, and I'm not saying that you should do it. And really, you never love one of them as much as you love the other one. But you can still, or you have the infatuation or whatever. And how does their relationship differ from Daisy and Billy's? Daisy's and Billy's is like a firecracker that you hold on to and it explodes in your hand, and it hurts everybody. It hurts you, it hurts everybody. Wrecks everything. And Camilla and Billy's is strong, and it's stable, and she has the girls, and she takes care of him, and she makes a house for him, and she makes a good life for him. And this is just an explosive bomb waiting to go off, but there's a lot of passion there. And I think that they kind of get along like oil and water. They don't mix, but they would like, I'm just saying, the bed stuff would probably be amazing. Number 5. What do you think about Billy and Daisy? Why do you think that Billy and Daisy clash so strongly? What misunderstandings between them are revealed throughout the author's investigation? So, I think that they clash so strongly because Daisy does not want to be... She actually has a line. It's something like, I'm not gonna be the muse, I am the artist. Or something like that. It's really, really close to that. Because she doesn't... Like, all of these guys are stealing her ideas. Somebody stole her lyrics so that they could make a song. Like, one of her ex-boyfriends. And then another one ended up writing a movie, and he was, like, gonna use a line that she said, and she was like, I am not the muse for somebody else. I'm the art. Or that kind of thing. So she really wants to be... Like, she wants to write the songs. She wants to be in charge of, like, putting together the music. She wants to be the lead singer. Like, she wants to be in the band, and she wants to be like a huge part of the band, not just like playing the tambourine in the back and singing like ooh ah during songs or something like that. She wants to be in the focus. She wants to be like a main focus kind of person. And Billy wants the exact same thing. He wants to be in charge of the band. Like I said, he wants to tell people how to play the songs. He wants to tell them how to play their instruments. He wants to, because he knows how to play all the instruments, so he can tell them like, you know, this riff would be better, this drum chord line would be better. I don't understand drums. My cousin plays them. Actually, 2 of my cousins play them, but I don't understand what they're, you know, the beat. That's it. He would say the drum beat. So like that kind of thing he would do. They have misunderstandings because Daisy likes him. Well, they like each other. Like they definitely want to make out, and she leans in to kiss him, and he's like, no, I can't, because of Camilla. Now, I think that they probably did kiss in real life, and he won't admit it. But she did say that they almost kissed, and then she took off, and she ends up getting married to some, like, Italian prince? I think he's either Italian or Greek. And he's some kind of prince. And so she becomes a princess. And that turns out to be a terrible relationship, which is not even mentioned here. But he ends up just being like a mooch. Like, he steals all her money. He doesn't steal it, but like he's constantly buying drugs with it and booze with it. And he's trying to like make her just be like drunk and high and like not caring the whole time. So he's taking advantage of her. But so that was one of their misunderstandings. They argue about writing songs because she wants her songs to be on the album. He wants his songs to be on the album. So they end up picking one, and then they like come together and they like write songs together, which is actually a cool idea. He really thinks that she has like an attitude and that she does like way too many drugs. And she does do way too many drugs. Like, that's just straight up. She's always on something. It's terrible. And she thinks that he's like too bossy and too bully, and like he won't like bend or like even try and discuss having a different way of anything. He just wants to be like in charge the whole entire time. So that kind of thing. Number 6 is, as we read the interviews, we can tell both of them, especially Billy, seem to hold back on the complete truth at times. In what ways did their songwriting and their actions on stage tell the truth when maybe they weren't being honest to each other and to themselves? So they were in love, like 100%. Billy would not admit that he was in love with her because he would not do anything to wreck his relationship with Camilla, even though I think maybe they did make out. They don't say it in the book that they did, though. But I think that Billy is in love with her, and he's like really fighting the fact that he doesn't want to, because he doesn't want to wreck his life. Like, he doesn't want to lose Camilla. He doesn't want to be the guy who leaves his kids like his dad did. You know, like, he doesn't want to be that person. So he's going to stay with Camilla and make it work, even though he's in love with Daisy, and that's just how it's going to be. And Daisy is in love with him, and she knows that because Daisy is kind of selfish. And I mean, like, that is what she is. There's like smoke going by my window. It's fine. She's very selfish, but that's because like she was an only child. Her parents didn't take care of her. They didn't give her enough attention. They didn't give her enough love. And she just wants what she wants, and she goes after it. And then when she doesn't get it, she gets mad and she pouts, which I mean is fine. That's what it is. But she doesn't end up getting him, but then she's so in love with him that Camilla's there, and she's like, they're like making eyes at each other while they're singing on the stage, and like Camilla's watching it. They do an SNL show, like they're the musical act for an SNL show, and it ends up being, for their second song, it's just Billy and Daisy on the stage. The rest of the band's not there, but they're watching from the side, and Karen says something like, if anybody else was watching that, you could see it was like they were the only two people on the universe that existed, and you could like see it like in the way that they looked at each other. You could see it with how they were acting with each other and stuff like that. So I mean, like, I'm really hoping that they'll eventually get together. It sounds weird, but like, so in their songs, they wrote about love songs, like it was love songs. They were writing, like Daisy wrote a song about not being able to have what she wanted or have the perfect guy, or she's the perfect girl, but it's just like the wrong guy or something like that. Like there was a couple of different things. The way that they acted together on stage, like if they sang into the same mic, which they did often. But then Billy would be like, later he would be like, I was singing in the mic and she just came over and I had to like stand there because I didn't want to be rude. But like, that's not what happened. He was just saying that kind of stuff. Yeah. They weren't being honest with each other. Well, I can't remember. I think that she told him that she loved him. Maybe not. No, maybe she didn't. Now that I've said that, I don't think so. She told the author that she loved him, though. And he never said it to the author back. Like, he never said, actually, I love Daisy. But, yeah. Number 7 is Daisy admits in the interview how she fell for Billy. But even after all these years later, there it is, Billy can't quite get there. He hints at it, but he always goes back to his love for Camilla. Why do you think he can't admit how he feels, how he felt, and possibly still feels about Daisy? So, spoiler, again, I didn't mention it at the front. Beep, 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 beep. The interviewer is Billy's daughter. It's his oldest daughter. So, he's not going to say to her, oh yeah, I was in love with Daisy and I was just hanging out with your mom. Because that's rude. Like, you're not going to say that. So, you know, and I think that's why a lot of the times he's like, you know, I'd be out like recording until 3, but then I couldn't wait to get back to Camilla. Or I'd be on stage and it would be a really good show, and as soon as I got off stage, I would go and phone Camilla. So I think like he just wanted to like reiterate the fact that he loved the author's mom, who is like his daughter Julia, his mom or her mom, so much that he just kept going like, yeah, I was hanging out with Daisy on stage. It kind of looks bad if you watch the videos, but I loved your mom so much. That kind of thing is what I think. I have a really itchy nose and I'm talking and it's like, so I think that he wouldn't do it because, again, like, A, he doesn't want to tell the author that he was in love with somebody else because that's his daughter. He's not going to say like, oh, I love Daisy more than I loved your mom. He's not going to say that. And B, I don't think that he himself has realized how much he loved Daisy. Like, they fought. They were like that firebomb of passion and like anger and love and lust and like the whole entire thing, you know what I mean? Like, definitely it would have been explosive. It would have hurt everybody. This is the bomb I'm talking about in my hand. I'm not shaking my fist at you, just so you know. But yeah, so sorry you guys, my nose is super itchy. So I think that he still can admit how he feels because of the fact that he doesn't want to take away anything from Camilla either. Like, he doesn't want to say like, you know, I love Camilla and I stayed with her, but I mostly stayed with her because of you guys or something like that. Like, and I don't think that if, like, honestly, if he had gotten together with Daisy, he would have been a big druggie and it would have been terrible. So it's good that they didn't get together when they did. Okay, so number 8. Let's talk about Karen and Graham's relationship. So we can tell he's crazy about her and she eventually warms up to him too. But when it comes to the idea of having a family together, she can't see herself there. What do you think about Karen's decision about her pregnancy and Graham's reaction to the news? Okay, so she ends up having a schmushmorshman, because you can't say that word on YouTube. I'll write it in here if I remember to put it on the screen, okay? But we all know what it is. It's illegal in the States. There you go. It's not illegal here, but it's illegal in the States. By the way, I'm Canadian. So yeah, she ends up having one, but she explains it very well, and I am on her side. She says, if you're, like, she says to him, because he's like, oh, I'm excited, like, we'll get a house, and then you can have the kid, and then you can stay home. And she's like, yeah, so right there, that's my career gone then. So she says to him, if you want to be the one who stays home and has the baby, then we'll talk about it. And he's like, oh. And then she's like, yeah, because for the woman, they have to go through the pregnancy, then they have to have the kid, then they have to, like, it's usually the woman who stays home and takes care of the kid, especially in the 70s. Like, it would have been the woman staying home to take care of the kid. And she did not want to give up her career to have a family at all. Like, and later, when, like, they're doing the interviews for this, she doesn't have kids. So, like, she didn't want kids her entire life. It's not like she magically decided, like, 5 minutes before this that she wanted kids. And it's not like after the shmushmorshin that she was like, oh, you know what? I should have actually kept that baby and not done that. She didn't have that feeling at all. She has never wanted kids in her entire life. So she did not want to have kids. So she was okay with having that. And he couldn't handle it. But they did end up, like, right after it happened, they had a concert. And then they met up in, I think it was his hotel room or her hotel room. And they, like, hugged it out. But after that, they were not in a relationship anymore. Like, that did break them up. Which does happen with people sometimes. But, I mean, I understand what she's saying. Like, she didn't want to give up her career. She's a musician. She would have, like, lost all of her tour dates. She couldn't be in the band anymore. At least for, like, at least 5 years. You know, because you got to wait until the kid can go to school for some of it. And for, like, a musician, you either need to have somebody who's, like, with you, or you need to have, like, a wife that you can leave it at home with. The baby. So, something like that. So I understand her position on it, and I 100% support her, and I support anybody else who would like to have a shmushmorshin for any of the reasons that don't even affect me because it's not my body and I have no choice on that. People in the US. Number 9 is, what role does the reliability, there we go. I wrote it out wrong. I spelled it wrong and then I couldn't figure out what it was. What role does the reliability of memory play in the novel? Were there instances in which you believed one person's account of the event more than the other? It's a lot of talking. I need a drink. What does the author mean when she says at the beginning, the truth often lies unclaimed in the middle? I mean, she says this at the beginning, the truth often lies unclaimed in the middle. So I think she means like the middle of two people's stories. So the reliability of the memory play in the novel, again, it's 20 years later and they're unreliable narrators. There's no way around it. Like, Billy is not telling the truth on his side for a lot of it. And I don't know if Daisy is either, because Homegirl does not remember half of it. Like, she'll say, I woke up and I was like, I was not sure where I was because I took so many drugs that day. I woke up and I could not remember the night before. Like, I woke up and I didn't realize that I was supposed to be at a gig where we were supposed to be singing, and I felt bad. I was walking on glass through stuff beside the pool because I was so high that I didn't understand what was going on. Like, so she's unreliable because she was drugged out the entire time, and Billy's unreliable because he doesn't want to be the bad guy. So his view has turned his story into him not being the greatest guy, but not being the bad guy that they say. Like, one of them is like, Daisy and I were going to go and get lunch, and she wanted to drive, and I wouldn't let her drive because she had drank some wine, so I got my keys, and then Daisy's like, yeah, so I drove to the thing, like, I drove to get us lunch. So, do we believe him, or do we believe her? You know what I mean? Like, and I think that he's trying to show, especially because the person that he's doing the interviews to is his daughter again. So I think that he's trying to show that he wasn't as bad as everybody says he was. Or, like, he wasn't doing the bad things. And I think maybe even in his mind, he doesn't believe that he was at fault quite often. Whereas half the band would be like, it was Billy's way or else we didn't do it. Like, Billy always had to be in charge. Billy this, you know? And he's like, yeah, I told everybody that they could have it say, that was cool. Like, and he's just, like, he doesn't get the fact that, like, everybody else is like, no, you didn't, man. But, so there's that. And the truth often lies unclaimed in the middle. I think because of the fact that, both of them don't, the whole entire band, it was 20 years ago, memories are kind of fuzzy. I also think that because neither one of them is actually telling, like, the full truth, maybe, of what happened, the truth is, like, unclaimed in the middle of their story. Like, maybe they did end up getting together. Maybe that is the cheating that happened that, you know, Camilla stayed with. I don't think so, though. Camilla does actually, after their Lutz concert, Camilla asked Daisy, like, she tells Daisy, you have to leave the band. She's like, I'm the consistent, I'm gonna be the one who stays, and you're not gonna be able to get Billy, so I need you to leave because this is done now. It's either you or him, and it's not gonna be him. That kind of thing. And Daisy actually leaves the band, and then she goes and gets clean, so good for her. Number 10, were you surprised to discover who the author was? Yes, 100%. I had no idea. I mean, like, I know that it was 20 years ago, so she's like 25? Maybe? I think so, because I think she's like 5 or 6 when the band breaks up. So she's like 25 or 26 when she's writing the book. I think it's really, really cool that she decided to do that. And I honestly think, so she found a note from her mom, like her and her sister found a note from her mom saying, tell Daisy it's okay that they can be together now. Or something, like no, tell Daisy and your dad that they owe me a song. And then, because Camilla's trying to set it up after she passes away, that they'll get back together and they'll actually be together. Because she knows that Billy, like, loved him. And she knows that Daisy loved Billy. And Daisy does not have, like, she's not in a relationship. She didn't end up adopting some kids, so she's not in a relationship, but they could get back together. This is what I'm saying, you guys. So this is the last question. In speculation, what do you think do you think that Billy and Daisy will reconnect and be together? Yes, I hope so. I honestly, because, like, it's not in the book saying that, but like, Camilla's, like, giving her, yeah, go for it. It's okay. You can do it. And I think, like, Camilla and Billy's kids, like Julia and everything like that, would be perfectly okay with it. Maybe they would come back together and do like a reunion tour. Hello, amazing. Yeah, so I 100% think that yes, they will get back together. Maybe there'll be a reunion tour. Maybe they'll write some music and that little firecracker bomb can finally go off. That kind of thing, yeah. Yeah, so what did you guys think about the book? I hope you read it, and if you didn't read it, watch the TV show, because it's pretty close. Okay, so now we have cast the characters. I did not look up my own characters. I was going to, but then I was watching the TV show as well, and I was like, oh, they did such a good job. So I'm just going to talk about the people that they cast instead, okay? So for Daisy Jones, they have Riley, I think it's Keogh, or Keogh, I'm not sure. She's Elvis Presley's granddaughter. Like, Lisa Marie was her mom. She does a really, really good job in the show. I actually want to watch her in more stuff now, and I think maybe she's actually singing her own stuff in the show, which if she has a really good voice. So that's kind of cool. Also, I wonder if they have a soundtrack for this TV show, because I would buy that. It's a pretty good soundtrack. Then for Billy Dunn, we have Sam Claflin. He was Finnick in the Hunger Games. I'll put their pictures up here so you guys can see. He was Finnick in the Hunger Games. I love him. He is actually, I think he's English, like from the UK. And he does such a good job at an American accent. Like, you would not know that he wasn't actually from Ohio or wherever the Dunn brothers came from. He is so serious in the show, and he's like, kind of melancholy and morose and everything like that. Like, that's his character. And I was reading articles about them, or was I reading an article, or did I see a little, I think it was a video, and they're all talking about like who's the most like their character and who's the least like their character, like the cast was, and they were all saying he is like so far from that. Like, he's the comedian, he's the jokester, he's like always laughing and always smiling and stuff like that, but in the show he's sad and he's morose, and morose is the same thing as sad, I'm just saying that twice, melancholy and like all of that kind of stuff. Like, he, you know, so it's all like he's down, and like, I don't know, retrospectively he's sad, but he was probably happy, like, in the part that we don't see. So then for Camilla Dunn, there's Camilla Moreau. She was amazing. Like, on it, and bonus, her name was Camilla. Like, but I mean, she was so good, and they did such good makeup on her. Like, she looked like, because they had them when they were younger, when they were in the band, and like, she wasn't in the band, but she was like Billy's wife, and then they had them when they were older, and they did such a good job on her makeup. I mean, like, all of them, but she looked really, really good. So I thought that she did really good. She was very, like, I don't know. There's a line in the book where he says, like, what Camilla wants, Camilla gets. And that's how she played her perfectly. Like, that's what I thought of. So for Karen's, in the TV show, they had her last name listed as something else, so it might be, and maybe I'm just thinking her name was Karen's, but she was played by Suki Waterhouse, and I think that she did a great job. She's the keyboardist. She had like cool, like blonde, kind of spiky, puffy hair, and she's, I don't know, she was just really like thoughtful and well spoken, and she did a beautiful job on like playing the keyboard. I don't know if she was really playing it. She did a beautiful job making it look like she was playing it if she didn't. She was wonderful. Then for Graham Doone, who's Billy's brother, we had Will Harrison. I think he did the perfect job. I honestly, it's not that they looked alike, but the way that they acted with each other, it's like they were actually brothers. Like they played brothers so well that if they were in another thing where they weren't playing brothers, it would be weird. Like, because the relationship that the two of them, I wonder if they hung out in advance. They must have. I bet they had like band practice or something like that, where they got to know each other in advance, because they seemed so much like brothers. Like, I've seen actual brothers who don't seem that brotherly. Like, so I don't know. I thought that they did a good job. Then there was Eddie Roundtree, who is Josh Whitehouse. I have seen him in something before, and I don't know what it was. I'll try and put it on the screen if I think of it. I really like him as an actor. I think that he is, gorgeous. He's like 20 or something, so, you know, and I'm 45, so wait, you know, but he's gorgeous. I think he did a wonderful job, because in the TV show, he's like in love with Camilla, kind of, like he loved her for a long time. And I don't know, I think just his like background, and he like kind of fought because he didn't really want to be in the, now that I'm looking at this, I think that the TV people are different than the book people, and I went with the TV people actors, because there was 2 sets of brothers in the book, and I don't have another set of brothers here, so I'm wondering if they combined people. But yeah, anyways, so Eddie might not have been actually in the book, but he was in the TV show, and I think he did a great job. Then there's Warren Rojas, who is Sebastian Chacon, and 100%, I don't know, because there was 2 brothers in the book. One of them in the book was fighting a lot because he didn't want to do what Billy said all the time. He was like, yeah, well, you had to do what Billy said, and if it wasn't Billy's way, it wasn't going to work out. That kind of thing. I wanted to do my own guitar riffs, and now Billy won't even let me play. That kind of thing. Anyways, the Sebastian person did a good job for Warren. And then for Simone, who was Daisy's best friend, who was also her roommate for a while, who also helped her get clean, what we have, I think it's Nabaya B. She was wonderful. So in the book, Simone is like a disco singer. This girl, Nabaya, like, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, so I apologize if I'm not. But she was so good. She 100%, like, if she was alive in the 70s and she was not a disco star, I would have been surprised. She was so good. Like, she was more convincing to me as, like, the disco singer than half of the band was for looking like they were in a 1970s band. She suited the character so much, and she was so strong and so gorgeous and, like, just amazing. Amazing. I love her. If she had actual music, I would listen to it. She was so good. Then there's Teddy Price, who was played by Tom Wright. I thought that he did a good job. In the book, Teddy was, like, a bigger guy who ate, like, a lot of bad food and, like, smoked and did, like, a lot of drugs and stuff like that as well. So he had, like, bad health problems, and him and Billy were, like, one of the guys in the band says that Billy only takes direction from Teddy. It was always Billy's band until Teddy came along, and then he was always looking for Teddy's approval. So it's almost like he, like, was, like, using Teddy to, like, replace his dad-ish, but, like, not in real life, but, like, just in the band kind of thing. Teddy did also help him get clean, so, like, that could have been part of it as well. And then we have the author, who is Julia, and she's played by, I think it's Seychelle? Like Michelle, but Seychelle? Something like that. Gabrielle. I think that she did a good job. In the book more, because, like, you listen to her talk because she, like, asks a lot of questions in the book. She seemed, like, I would have not thought that she was Julia until she interrupted and said, like, for this part, I have to say I was there because I was 5 and I remember this part. And, like, if she did not say that, I would have not realized that she was, like, related to any of them. I just would have thought that she was, like, an interviewer doing the interview job. So she did a really good job of keeping herself separated from what she was listening to and what she was hearing and what she was asking and that kind of thing. Like, she wasn't making it, like, about her family, about herself, about, like, oh, you're my dad, so I'm going to ask you this really easy question, like, stuff like that. She was literally going in-depth, interview style, really, really well, and I think that she did like a super good job. So yeah, let me know who you would have cast in the characters. Let me know what you thought about the book. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I'm gonna listen to it again, actually. I was like halfway through it, and Taylor was like, yeah, in the audiobook, you can listen to like, it's like a whole bunch of different voices for the different people. And I thought that was so neat. So I ended up I did listen to the audiobook one, and it was worth it. It was so good. I guess that's it. Let me know how your day is going, and let me know what's new, and let me know what's happening. How are you guys doing? Are you guys going to be reading the next book with us? I don't know what it is yet. I haven't even put up the polls yet when I'm filming this, so I got to get on that. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to, or don't if you don't want to. You know how I like to live it. Turn on the notification bell if you do, because I do post slightly sporadically, as I like to sing. It's supposed to be Saturdays, Wednesdays, and Mondays, but I forget sometimes, or I don't have enough time to film, and then like I missed a couple of Wednesdays in the last couple of weeks, but we'll get back in there. Also, go and check out Taylor's video, because I'm excited to see what she says. Like with books, the nice thing about like books and reading and having like this community and everything like that is everybody can read the same book differently. Everybody can have like different opinions on the books. They can have a different way that they thought about the character. They can have a different outlook on what they thought, just like even about like, were you surprised to discover who the author was? Like maybe some people guessed who it was beforehand. Maybe some people were like, oh, it makes sense that it was Julia the whole time. Like, I don't know. Everybody has like a different opinion on how books work, and that's one of my favorite things about book club, is that we can all have different opinions, and it's still okay. Like, it's just like, you know what? Sometimes you don't like the book. Sometimes you do like the book. Sometimes you can't get through it. Like all of that kind of stuff, you know? So I do love book club. Thank you guys for being here. Yeah, so make sure that you go and check out Taylor's video. Like I said, I can't wait to see what she says. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for spending a couple minutes of your day with me today. I really, really appreciate that. And I really, really appreciate you. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye! That was probably a long one. Just gonna put that out there. That was a lot of talking. My throat hurts. Okay, bye.